in the show.
Let's start with this
Just
one.
unbelievable. Hi, Colin.
Hello, Nick.
Yeah, hi.
Let me start with this. I love Deshaun Watson. I said, how bad do you have to be run to go 4-12 with like an Aaron Rodgers or Deshaun Watson? And if you look at the numbers this year, they were the same quarterback. How bad do you have to be? So I think he's showing a restraint. Your takeaway on he has not said, trade me. That's the line. But he is inched right up to it. You covered him in Houston. You know that's your background. Your thoughts on Deshaun, where he's going?
Well, I think the scariest team in the league, the only team that could go into next year as the favorites to win the Super Bowl, other than the Chiefs, when the Chiefs will obviously be two-time defending Super Bowl champions at that point, would be the San Francisco 49ers. If they got Deshaun. Could you imagine Kyle Shanahan's offense? You get Bosa back. You get a lot of the players back from injury, George Kittle. And if you could have that type of quarterback in that offense, I think it would be the best team in the league by a decent margin.
Wow.
But I want to run something by you, Colin. Try to be an innovator here. I want to create a marketplace that does not currently exist in the NFL. Trades, a trade stipulation that doesn't currently exist. Would you do this to get Deshaun Watson if you were the Colts or the Niners or a team that is ready to win? Here's what I'll trade you, Houston. You can have my first-round pick every year he's on my roster. So until we trade or cut him, if he's on my roster on draft day, you get my first-round pick. You want to put a sunset on it of 2030, fine. So it maxes out at 10, whatever. But you mentioned Rodgers. Let's say the Bears 10 years ago had traded the Packers that. Hey, we'll give you our first-round pick every year we have Aaron Rodgers. You give us Aaron Rodgers. It would be worthwhile. I think that's the only way the Texans could approach getting fair value for Deshaun. Because if Laramie Tunsil's worth 2 first-round picks, Deshaun's worth 8. So I would seriously offer that if I'm a team that can win the Super Bowl and needs a quarterback. I honestly would.
Well, the Colts aren't paying anybody. T.Y. Hilton's a free agent, so DeForest Buckner, they actually could do something like that and give up 4 or 5 picks. And if I was Chris Ballard, I would do that. But it is interesting. If Khalil Mack's worth a couple, then what?
Well, think about it like this. Let me just quickly. Khalil Mack, Jalen Ramsey, Jamal Adams. Those 3 players.
2 picks.
Would you rather have them or Deshaun? Those 3 guys or Deshaun? I'd rather have Deshaun.
Yeah.
So that means he's worth 6 because all those guys went for 2.
Yeah.
So that means he's worth 6 right there. So I don't know that you can get fair value for him. He's too good.
Let me throw this at you. We were talking about this as a team this morning, that my kids should get pretty good grades. They've got stable home. They get a warm breakfast. They could, if I wanted to hire a tutor. There are kids in America sleeping in cars. There are kids in America in apartments in unsafe parts of town. Grades we should consider that a 4-point from a trust fund kid is not as impressive as a 3.5 from a kid in a tough environment, right? And I think about that.
Agreed.
Right. So, Tom Brady's season, he drove to the stadium for 15 to 20 years in New England with the best coach, the best offensive line coach, a top 6 defense, Gronk, one of the best owners. That's fine. This year, he has a non-Hall of Fame coach, a coordinator, never been a coordinator. Offensive line was the weakness. 2 Hall of Fame quarterbacks in division. That I said this morning, I said, if he beat Green Bay, I could make the argument it's a top 2 to 3 season, if not the best season, if you consider what he overcame. You agree?
That's right. I agree with that. Especially if we grade on the curve, a little bit of a curve because of the age. Listen, I have been predicting the demise of Tom Brady since you've known me. And damn it, I really think, like, people were like, Nick, do you want to take the Tom Brady takes back? And my answer is no, because I think they've been good takes. 2 years ago, I said he was done, and he threw a pick to end the AFC title game against my Chiefs, and I'm celebrating. and then damn D Ford's a quarter-inch off sides, and they win. And then they score 13 points in the Super Bowl, and they win the Super Bowl. And then last year, I predict the end, and he throws a pick six to lose Wild Card Weekend. And I'm like, victory is mine, finally. But then somehow he goes to Tampa, and he wasn't even great this weekend. I think you would admit he wasn't great this weekend. But I'm watching the other old quarterbacks just evaporate around him.
Yeah.
Rivers just retired. Big Ben, I think, just threw another interception. Drew Brees just threw another interception. The Manning brothers have been gone for years, and Brady's still there. He's like Jason. He won't die, and it's so frustrating. And so, yeah, if he goes into Lambeau to beat Rodgers and makes his 10th Super Bowl, then it'll be one of his most impressive seasons. I can concede that. I just wish he'd go away. I just really wish he'd go away.
You know, I would say this, though, is your takes weren't bad. It's just that there are outliers. There are people that change, like the temperature, or they change the grading scale. Yeah. Your take, actually, that D Ford's a half-inch offside and he scores 13 and wins the Super Bowl is actually hilarious, because it's like, it did look like the end. It absolutely looked like the end.
It did, and then the next year they lost to the Titans.
Yes.
And it was the end, and Belichick said, get out of here, and now he throws 40 touchdowns in Tampa. I can't deal with it, man.
All right.
I just can't deal with it.
All right, before we go to the payoff of the bet, I do want to touch on Kyrie. And I just said, listen, you give me examples, and I'm good to go for any big risk. There's not a lot of Kyrie examples where you're hard to coach, injury prone, can be really difficult. Halfway through your career, light comes on, and you're a joy to coach. You're never hurt, and you're a leader. Like, I would move off him, and I wouldn't even need a star in return. I think Harden and KD win the East with better defenders around them. I don't need points. Your take, I mean, you love the NBA, you watch it, you live close to this situation happening. I would move off him for role players. Your thought on Kyrie returning?
Yeah, I think the Nets have two major issues. One is they are now relying on DeAndre Jordan to be their defensive stopper. There is no template for a team as bad defensively as this Nets team is and is going to be over the course of the year to win the title in modern NBA history, aside from the 0-1 Lakers, and the 0-1 Lakers had peak Shaquille O'Neal and entering his prime Kobe Bryant. This team ain't the 0-1 Lakers. So that's my first concern. My second concern is this. Kyrie's whole utility is ball in his hands.
Yes.
Ball in his hands. Harden, most of his utility is ball in his hands, even though he can obviously pass beautifully. Durant is the second best basketball player alive, the clear best player on this team. But because of their styles, he's the guy I think is most likely not to take a secondary role, but to take a tertiary role. I think he's the guy that could be minimized the most. So if Kyrie still had a lot of value, which I doubt that he does, but if he did, would I trade Kyrie Irving for a little rim protection and wing defense in a heartbeat? Because Durant and Harden are going to provide you all the offensive punch you need. The reason I don't think the Nets are going to get out of the East is they're going to try to win all these games the way they won the other night, 125, 123, and that doesn't tend to work in the postseason.
Yeah. All right, the big payoff. We bet on the Bills' success.
Oh, I got to go.
No.
We're doing another segment?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Another segment.
Oh, okay.
And you're going to get ready. Hopefully that mustard and ketchup match your suit. Beautiful suit today. So stick around, Nick Wright.
Thanks.
More of Nick Wright paying off the bet he made quickly and without thought. That's coming up.
That's not me. That's not me right there.
But you're going to look like that. Convenient, clean pickup stations for app and online order. Jersey Mike Sub. Joy and I, actually, Jersey Mike's in L.A. is our favorite sub place.
Yeah, once a week.
A lot of good ones. Jersey Mike's is the best. Order through their app. No contact at the door or no contact during delivery. They got their chicken cheese steaks. Everything is fresh. Tomatoes, their onions, their lettuce. This stuff is sliced fresh every morning. Same with their produce. Sliced out, cared for each morning from scratch. Their bread, they make it there. Add a little olive oil, my turkey, my lettuce, my tomato, my olive oil, my wheat bread. Unbelievable. At Jersey Mike's.
He's considered today as the Bucs prepare for the Packers in the NFC Championship. He's not participating in the media access portion of today's practice.
All right.
He had one catch for 10 yards in the game this past weekend, but he did lead the Bucs with 33 targets in the last 4 regular season games.